What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome back for some more Fire Emblem Heroes, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my first impression and the stat speculation of the FE7 banner that we're going to be getting in 2 days. So I'm really excited because I love FE7. It was the first Fire Emblem game that I ever played and it has gotten a banner and we have got some brand new units. So we have got Farina finally in the game with Hot Shot Lance. And this Lance is really interesting because it is a reference to how you can hire her for an absurdly high cost. So this Lance gives her -1 special trigger cooldown, and at start of combat if she's above 25% HP, then she gets stats during the combat based on the dragon flowers that you have used on her. So the highest is gonna be +7 if you use 5 dragon flowers, and if you don't really give her any kind of dragon flowers, then she's gonna be getting at least +4 to all of her stats. And then she's got another secondary condition which also works on dragon flowers. So if you've given her 3 or more dragon flowers, then she basically has the dull effect. So she's gonna be able to ignore the visible buffs that foes have with stuff like rally skills, tactic skills, stuff like that. And that's a pretty good weapon, honestly. This is essentially Larce's weapon in a Lance version, but it gives her even more stats and it's even easier to trigger because you just need to give dragon flowers to her. And you could argue the value of dragon flowers, but it's still really amazing weapon, giving you +7 to all of her stats, having the slaying effect, which means that Gale Force becomes a 4-turn special. So Farina can also work as a pretty good Gale Forcer, and she also ignores the buffs of foes. So pretty good Lance overall, and Lance Flyers do have a lot of competition, but Farina is definitely going to be standing out a bit because of this preferred weapon, which is just so easy to trigger. She's got reposition, and now we have Sparkable attack speed cat 4. So I don't necessarily think that these cat skills, or the skill which Louise has got, is better than the existing offensive skills like Sparrow 3 or attack speed push 4. I definitely prefer attack speed push 4 because it's gonna be more consistent. Attack speed catch 4 and the skill which Louise has, it does require conditions. So if you can meet them, then it's good, but if you cannot, then the other skills are definitely going to be more consistent. So Legendary Claude did have the skill and it's now present on Farina. She's got attack speed snag 3. Snag skills are not really all that good, honestly, and I'm guessing that Farina can much easily run something like Desperation, Dive Bomb, or even Pegasus Flight depending on her resistance, and she's got attack defense rain as her slotsy skill. So Farina is a Lance Flyer, but still she can stand out because of her preferred weapon, which is really creative and also not creative at the same time. It's creative because it's a reference to the game, and uncreative because it's just going to be giving you so much just for existing, which makes me feel bad for the Gen 1 units. So here she's going to be taking out this red flyer, and this is pretty much what I'm expecting out of Farina. They're definitely going to be stacking her quite a bit in her attack and speed, so she's going to be having some really good attack stat, which means that she can work as a pretty good Gale Force unit, I'm guessing, and she's probably going to be having a bit higher resistance than defense as it is for most of the Pegasus Knights. So that is Farina, and then we have got Louise. So Louise finally got out of the alt purgatory and she's here with her normal version. Unfortunately, she doesn't really have a preferred weapon. She's a colorless infantry archer, and that class has so much competition. So she's got Rainbow Plus, which is basically a Coral Bow, but it's the non-seasonal version. So Coral Bow is available in the Divine Code section. It's pretty easy to get. So this bow is pretty decent, giving you the speed and defense debuff on foes within 2 spaces of Louise, which means that you can also help your allies. And then she comes with a new line of skill, Attack Speed Ideal 4. So at start of combat, if the unit's HP is at full, or if a bonus is active on the unit, then it grants you +7 attack and speed during the combat. And if both of the conditions are met and you're both at full HP and you have a bonus on yourself, then you get +2 extra attack and speed, which ends up at a total of +9 attack and speed. Now again, like I said with the cat skills, these do have the conditions and they are not really as consistent, more so this ideal skill because this requires you to be at full HP. For a lot of the offensive units, that is not going to be possible because many times they want to enter the range of something like Desperation or Vantage or stuff like that. So that's why this kind of skill could be annoying there, and it can be pretty easily activated if you have a bonus on yourself. But keep in mind that panic and lull skills are a thing, so those are the factors you have to consider. This is definitely not a bad skill, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that there are definitely some factors which you have to keep in mind while using the skill. Because it's easy to not be at full HP, and also have your bonus negated by a lull skill, so you're not going to be getting anything out of this skill against those kinds of situations. But still, for many units, this can be a pretty good skill, giving you the +9 attack and speed. Louise pretty much comes with the Oath skill to activate this skill as well. So Louise here is going to be taking out this Flying Green Manakete, and I feel like she's definitely going to be very strong. 40 base attack easily is what I'm guessing, and she's going to be pretty fast because she doesn't have a preferred weapon. To sell her, they basically need to make her a bit more unique. So I think she's going to be having pretty good attack stat and pretty good speed as well, but still there's quite a bit of competition, and even Rainbow is not the best bow that you could run on her, but I'll go more on that in my banner review. So that is going to be Louise and my take on the Ideal skills and the Cat skills. They are good options, but there are also, you know, the other existing skills that we have got that are much more consistent. And then we've got Erk, and I'm pretty happy that finally he's in the game. He's a red infantry mage, which surprised me a bit because he has got the Thunder affinity, so I expected him to be blue. And they shafted my boy because he's such a fan favorite and he's a demote. That's not a bad thing in itself, but he's yet another red mage after Miranda and like Null, so he's pretty much gonna be similar to them. And he comes with the Fox Tome, which already Null had got. He's got Moonbow, and the best thing about him as a demote is that he comes with a solo skill, which is a great sign. I hope they can put solo skills on other permanent summoning units that are demoted. Speed Res Solo is a pretty decent skill on a budget on many units. Definitely, it's not as good as Attack Speed Solo or Attack Res Solo, but still pretty decent skill. It's good to have. And Speed Opening, which was already present in the Grail pool. So he doesn't have a preferred weapon, but he does have pretty good skills that he gets demoted for, especially the solo skill, which I hope they can demote more of. We can pretty much use the defense of Manakete to figure out his attack, which I think is going to be around 36. And he's definitely going to be a bit faster than Null and Miranda because he does come with a solo skill that is speed based. And I think he's not going to be having that much defense. He's pretty much going to be like a side grade to Miranda in my opinion, just having a bit better speed but less resistance. And he also has more HP, kind of like Null, even has more HP than Null here. So this is what I'm expecting on Erk, and being a demote unit also means that, you know, his fans can plus and merge him, but it also means that he doesn't really get any like unique stuff here. So that is going to be Erk. Finally, he's in the game. I'm actually pretty happy about that. And finally, the star of this banner is going to be the Mage General that we know. Pent, finally in the game in his full glory outside of a seasonal alt, and he's a green infantry mage. And because he's a mage general, naturally he will support mages, as you'll see with his preferred weapon. So his weapon gives him +3 attack stat, which is essentially making this weapon a 17 might weapon. And at the start of combat, it grants -1 special cooldown to any magical allies within 2 spaces of Pent, including himself, if their special cooldown is at its max value. So this is basically area on effect time pulse for the mage allies, and that is really strong. The reason being is that you have got units like Legendary Lilina. She can finally let go of her gifted magic, which doesn't give you as much AoE damage as something like Blazing Flame. For example, you can run Reinhardt with like double Death Blow and still have a 1 cooldown Moonbow because of this time pulse effect, as long as he's within 2 spaces of Pent. So there are a lot of ways of setting up infantry pulse teams with this as well. And you know, someone like Dual Lift, who usually uses stuff like Glimmer or Moonbow, he can actually run something like Bonfire, which can do a lot more damage because his defense is actually pretty decent. So something like that can be possible, and he's definitely going to be a pretty good unit to be used in Aether Raid's defense, even enabling specials of like cavalry mage units, which previously was only possible through Grand Scratcher or Ostia's Pulse, and both of those things were not really as good on defense. Pent himself seems like a pretty good and competent unit who can definitely work in Aether Raid's defense, so I think we're going to be seeing him quite a bit in Aether Raid's defense as well, especially because he's a sparkable unit. Green Dual Infantry 4 is here. I'll actually be making a full video on this and what are the best candidates for it from the free-to-play pool and as well as the 5-star lock pool. There are definitely a couple of options that are going to be pretty nice, and he has got lull attack resistance and times pulse. So because of his weapon and time pulse, he can basically have a pre-charged Glimmer, which is really amazing, and also he can support the other allies. He also gets +6 attack and speed from his weapon if the foe is above 75% HP, so that is not the hardest thing to trigger. And the AoE time pulse, which he can provide to his allies, is definitely going to be making him pretty unique, because even if he gets power crept as a unit himself offensively, he's still going to be having that niche of the support, which is what ages better in FEH basically, the support oriented skills, the unique stuff. So Pent is going to be triggering Glimmer here. I don't think he's going to be having the highest attack stat. He's going to be having 35 base attack, I think, from what I calculated, the damage that he's doing here. And he's going to be pretty fast, pretty much like Asbel. I think he's going to be as fast because his tome does give him the speed. He does have lull attack resistance, which kind of makes me think that he's already going to be having really high speed. And he's going to be having lowish defense and pretty alright resistance, I guess, to make use with lull attack resistance. So that is going to be Pent, the Mage General. Insane unit in FE7. He's finally in the game, and he's also really good in this game. So I'm really glad that they did justice to Pent. So those are the units that we have on this banner, and of course they do have this kind of cinematic cutscene here to show us that you can get Celestial Stone here for the very first time because you can spark. And I think many people might spark on this banner actually because of the dual skill present on Pent. So yeah, you can basically get the Celestial Stone. They're showing Dragonflowers here because they know that Farina could use that. Sneaky guys. Pharma Soul is definitely going to be the most valuable item here. So those were the units on the banner. There's also a Grand Hero Battle unit in Sonia. One of my most hated characters in Fire Emblem. But I hope that she can be a pretty good, free-to-play unit. I think she's probably going to be blue because she's got Fimble Vetter and Bolting. Branya already has Fimble Vetter, so I think she might get Bolting. I just hope it's not like a gimmick tome. Just a consistent good weapon. Preferred weapon is what I'm looking for in her. And we're going to be having her as a Grand Hero Battle unit. Let me know what you think about Sonia and what kind of color and weapon she's going to be having, and what are your thoughts on this banner as well. Let me know in the comments, and I want to thank all of my YouTube members for their constant support, and if you enjoyed, then please be sure to leave a like and a comment. Helps me tremendously, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as Farina's weapon secondary condition if you do not give her any kind of dragon flowers. So that said, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.